Hey, welcome back to Dirt Live. We're here with our special guest, Armin Schwarz, the number 15 trophy truck driver, all the way from Austria. Armin, you grew up in Germany. Welcome to the show, buddy.
Thank you, George.
Well, you know, you come from Austria, you know, you grew up in Germany. What kind of racing background did you start with over there?
Well, I started with motocross and enduro riding. At the time when I grew up, we had all the forests where we could race and go out and use our bikes. And that was my start with getting into motorsport.
So did you become a world champion at that? You know, like Joe Robert and some of the guys from Europe, you know?
I would love to, but you know, I realized quite early that enduro riding, motorcycle riding is quite a tough environment, and I raced like 3 years in like a national championship and a smaller championship, like the North Bavarian. I mean, quite a small one. I had a couple of good races there, but then I started working in a car dealership, and the owner was rallying. So I got from 2 wheels to 4 wheels, what was suiting me better.
So let's jump into rally. This was something you started, about what age at that time? How old were you?
Well, I started with 18. As soon as I had my driving license, I was using cars, sliding them around. And of course, we have quite a long winter period in Germany, so you could use at least for 3-4 months. You had some ice and snowy condition, and that, of course, I love to go out and slide a car around. And that was how actually I got into car racing.
Now, your first win, was it which part of it?
Well, my first win was the Bavarian Championship, but it was way back in '84. And then I tried to bridge this for an international career. And it took me a while because, you know, you build your own car, but in Europe it is more based on manufacturer sport. So manufacturers have big resources, they have bigger budgets, and of course you race the same category than them. So it took me a while before I really got grip, but then a couple of years later in '86 I won like a privateer's European Championship in different countries, and that was actually my kickoff where I got an Audi contract. Audi at that time had a fantastic car with the Audi Quattro, and I got a chance to race for Audi in the German Championship '87, and then it was just going, you know, successfully.
So how long after you did that for about what?
Well, I went into the German Championship for 3 years, and the third year in '89 I already have won the championship twice, and then I had like a mixed program. I did a couple of the World Rally Championship rallies, and then in 1990 actually that was my breakthrough. I got a contract with Toyota, and then I have been in the World Championship for almost 20 years, racing for Toyota, Mitsubishi, Ford, for Hyundai, for Skoda, and it was a great time and a long time in world rallying. And actually I finished my career in 2006 on the wheel of a Skoda Fabia. Skoda I don't think is very well known in the US, but it's one car manufacturer out of the Czech Republic in the Volkswagen Group.
Biggest memory racing rally, you know?
Biggest memory. You know, my entire career has not a biggest memory. It's like a puzzle. They are all tiny little bits and pieces who are giving me a great exposure on the last 25 years. And I can't say, you know, winning in Spain, that was my greatest moment. I had so many great moments, meeting people, you know, going out pre-running, you know. It is not one greatest moment. It's my last 25 years is my greatest moment.
Well, let's talk about what you do on the off time. You know, over in Austria, what do you do over there?
I'm having a rally school, but this is not based in Austria. We are going up to Lapland, that is northern Finland, in the winter, and we have there a rally school. We are using Subaru cars. We're doing like ice driving, snow driving. We have competition cars up there. And this is like a rally school for 2 months. Why Finland? Because it's very sure that you have frozen lakes and you have frozen conditions. That is one part what I'm doing. I'm doing a rally teaching individual drive days throughout the year on gravel, on tarmac. I'm doing incentive events. I mean, it's quite a mixture of different activities. but mainly I'm doing rally activities.
Keeping you busy. So.
Keeping myself busy, yeah.
Okay, let's talk about when you left Germany, Austria, and you came over here to the United States. How did you get over here?
Actually, it was a coincidence because I have a couple of partners like Remus, Exos Company, and Eibach. And Eibach is well known in the US, and the owner is a good friend of mine. And I'm having a partnership with him almost like 27 years this year. And when I quit rallying, I call all my long-time partners and say, look, this is the last season I'm rallying in World Rally. And he said, why you don't come to the US? You know, we have just built up in Riverside a new shop, and I would like to show you what we're doing here. And you know, there's so much in the US on what you could do as a, let's say, pensionist rally driver. So I went here in 2006, and we sit together at the time with a lot of people. He has invited a couple of people for dinner, and then we talk about Baja, and I saw the book of Marty Fiolka about Baja, and that all, you know, got my interest. And the same year in 2006, I came to Prim because that was fitting my calendar, my schedule. And then I had a look in Prim on the race, and I was immediately, you know, hooked up, and I loved the environment. And that was actually the start, you know, falling in love with the kind of off-road racing you have.
That's when you got hooked up with Martin, about that time?
Yeah, there was also the same time because we tried to find a team because, you know, I saw Prim, the racing, and I couldn't stand out there and watching racing, you know, I wanted to drive. So then Wilfried Eibach, he came with me and we went down, saw a couple of teams, and then he know Martin, and he said, well, you know, what, why not give Armin a chance in your class 1, you know, give him a ride. So the day after the race, I had a chance to drive his class 1. And of course, that was so fantastic for me. I mean, coming out of a world rally car, what is really good performance, but then getting to something what is totally new and having much greater performance in rough terrain. And for me, rallies like Kenya, like a safari rally, or like Greece, Acropolis rally is maybe not so known here. It's a very rough and gravel rally and very demanding rally. That has been my favorite events, and that fit actually the picture of Baja racing or off-road racing very much. So we straight away, we tried to get a drive in 2006 at the Baja 1000. And that was actually my first race I did. Martin rented a car for me, a class 1. And lucky enough, we draw the 101. So we have been first class 1 off the line on my first race here. And we had a very good race, but we couldn't get it to the finish because the ancient died on that class 1. But this was it. I mean, this was, I know exactly what I want to do, and there was racing here.
Well, let's talk about, I know you have a favorite spot in Baja that you like to race.
Yeah, favorite spot, what I quite like and what mirrors to me very much Mexico is San Felipe. I mean, all the area, all the coast down there, the sea, the Cortez, and also having that great memory because we had a first overall win in San Felipe with the class 1 a couple of years ago, and that is one of my favorite spots.
You know, racing and winning, and then all of a sudden a big idea came to your head to put on, let's talk about racing that you're promoting.
Yeah, you know, I'm organizing since, I did, first time in 2009 I put together an event called Power Days. You have to see, in Europe you have like football, you have tennis, you have Formula 1, you know, great sport, and the rallying and off-road is quite low-key in Europe. Yeah. But I think it has such a good potential, and then you see all the motorcycle guy, you see freestyle motocross, you see off-road racing, you can have a rally car out there. And we say, why we don't create something what attract a lot of people, smaller groups of people, but what makes a huge festival. And we put it out in 2009 first time. Had a number of people over from the US as well, and showing the European audience how cool could be motorsport. Because of course in Europe not many people are rallying a V8 engine and having a prototype race car. They are all like cars what you can actually purchase and run on the road. And that was my idea, to show people how much cooler motorsport could be. And we didn't have the chance to do it the last couple of years because you have to find the ground. You know, it's not like coming down to Baja where you find all the land where you can race. In Europe, everything is very like organized and fenced up. You need permission. And now we have found an area with a day mining, a former day mining area, what is quite big for that. And we did it this year again. I mean, we put a power race on, but as a race event. So we had a 24-hour enduro race, we had a 12-hour quad race, and we had 2 days off-road racing. And we had a number of 1,100 entries, what was totally out of this world. I mean, we have so many motorcycles who participate and had such a good time and good show out there. We got good TV, what we could not get if we do just a motorcycle race or just an off-road race. And my aim was, what I live in the US and what I see, how racer friendly this is, how spectator, how open they are with the racers, and how good, you know, all the environment between the racers are in the US. I want to bring to Europe to show them, because Europe is a little bit narrow-minded to me. You know, the world is getting too small in Europe, and here everything is like open. You know, anything is possible, and that is the beauty of racing in America or in Mexico. And I have a lot of friends made here, and I'm so glad, you know, that I can live my dream. You know, that has been always my aim.
All right, let's back to Mexico. Speaking of Mexico, do you like, for the 1,000, the loop, or do you like that Peninsula Run?
I love the Peninsula Run. I mean, that is what I used to do in rallying. You have only one time going through one passage, and you know, then you need to get a perfect line. You need to deal with all the environment. You have to deal with your race car, with your navigator, with your team, and you know, that is a great race. And of course, you're making a big distance on a very nice countryside.
Well, let's talk another thing. A big job now for you as ASO, how you represent that.
Well, the ASO, actually, a good friend of mine, he went to the ASO 2 years ago, and I'm always keeping in touch with him, you know, exchanging ideas and exchanging needs for motorsport, and you know, what could be addressed. And he had a position, he gained a position in ASO where he was responsible for, getting a better understanding for races. And one thing was, when I saw the environment in the US and how strong and competitive racing here is, I find it, you know, sad that nobody was challenging, you know, the racers in Dakar. Because I think here in Baja or in the United States, there are so many great racers and race teams and cars out there who really could challenge, you know, Stefan Peter Hansel in Dakar. But I think what they don't understand, you have a different mentality here, you have a different regulation here, so look into that. Because this is a very European thing. You get so narrow-minded, you don't look out of your frame. And that's what I'm trying to do, to give an opportunity to the ASO, to give more an open view what is happening in the US. Same time also telling people in the US, you know, what could be done to promote the sport more, because I think if you have a very successful American racing in Dakar, that will bring a lot of attention and let's say promotion and notice in the US for the whole sport, not just for Dakar, also for the whole off-road sport. And I think that would be the aim, you know, to get somebody out there and really kick their ass, you know, in Dakar.
Well, we got it going. Let's talk about the Dakar Challenge. We got 2 races, the Baja 500 and the Reno 500.
Well, it's thanks to Roger, actually. I mean, he was coming down to Lima to have a look on the Dakar start and the whole environment, and you know, he's very open-minded on things, looking at it, you know, analyzing it, what could be taken, what we should not take, because there's definitely, for me, certainly some rules what are in the FIA fundamented, what I wouldn't like to see in off-road racing, what, you know, paralyze your car in certain way, because you have to downsize or limited suspension trouble like that. But on other hands, there is a good promotion out there for Dakar. I mean, Dakar made, they spread the word around the world, and this was something was nice to see. But getting to the Dakar Challenge, the ASO has a program what is called Dakar Challenge, and the Dakar Challenge is actually to give like a free entry for a team, for a driver to participate in the Dakar. This is, of course, is a promotion program, but for me it's more important that we are gaining now publicity, because now even in Europe, media will talk and write about the Dakar Challenge happen on the Baja 500 and the Reno 500. So like this, we are getting more media out to Europe. On the other side, like I said before, if we find a racer who is going and race Dakar 2014 and really is competitive, you know, it will do a lot of good to our sport in the US and in Mexico by showing how competitive it could be. And one good example for me is like Nasser Al-Attiyah, winner of the Dakar. He came to the US and built a car in the US because he has seen that like a class 1 buggy type, that is the competitive thing to beat car manufacturers like BMW with the Mini. Could be also beaten VW in their Touareg because the same category, same speed, and the class 1 has really shown that is very, very competitive. And I think if more racers are looking into this avenue, you can use one car on both ends, in Dakar and in the US, and be competitive.
That sounds pretty cool. Well, plans for 2013 for you guys, you and Martin?
Well, our plan is definitely to get our truck together, you know, get him to the finish. That was our weakest point last year. I think we had every race we had a good chance really having a good result. And the target is to get the truck together, get the truck on the podium, and yeah, sooner or later go out and win races, because that is what I'm here for. And I want to make it as difficult as possible for my competitor, but I want to have a good time here.
Well, thank you very much for joining us on Dirt Live. Armin Schwarz here. Good luck down at the 500 this weekend. And we're going to go to a commercial break, and we'll be right back on Dirt Live.